Welcome to our pod. And by that, I mean on Wednesdays we read. I'm Hannah.
I'm Laura.
And we are two best friends who do a deep dive into a new book series, one book at a time. Right now we are shiting on the wheel of time, and we only have 2 episodes left of this series.
Only two.
Only two.
Wow, it's like becoming a real thing.
It's Laura tomorrow. No.
Sorry, listeners, I am eating.
No, next week is our wrap-up episode where we will be doing listener questions about our trip with this series. So today is
we're gonna get trippy.
And today is our last episode ever discussing one of the books in depth. So we are finishing up A Memory of Light by Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson, and we'll be discussing the characters and their ending journey in this book. And we have some thoughts. So
more than some.
You could say we almost have a plethora of thoughts.
You could almost say there are many.
So get cozy. Hannah already told Laura off mic that she is in pajamas where dogs are wearing Easter bunny ears. She's comfy.
They're cute. I thought it was just a cute dog shirt. And then Hannah was like, no, this is pajamas. I'm like, oh. Got it.
Hannah has to travel like 3 hours for work. So she got home and she was like, nope, I'm not wearing real pants anymore. We're done.
I mean, it's totally justified. You could have just also went with it and been like, thank you. This is a cute shirt with dogs on it.
I hate to be this person, but like, Laura, you definitely are someone who would own a dog shirt. Can you really picture me owning dog shirts?
I mean, yes, because you have dogs.
I know, but I'm not really like a dog shirt person. Unless
maybe I'm just like very into
shirt.
Like little cartoons and stuff on shirts. And I also just really like little cutesy things. So maybe that's just me. I don't know. I have many shirts with goats on them, and they have hilarious things like whatever floats your goat or totes my goats.
The only animal shirt I have was the bird bone sweatshirt, and I lost mine, and I'm the creator of the bird bone sweatshirt. Yeah, I told you this. I lost it. I need to make myself a new one because I am the creator of bird bone sweatshirt, and I need one.
Remind me to bring up creators in a little bit when we start talking about this book.
Okay. Ooh, dun dun dun.
Because a listener pointed
Jesus.
out a hilarious thing.
Oh, I know what you're gonna talk about. I know. It's amazing. But before we get into it, Laura, what are you reading, watching, and or enjoying?
Honestly, Hannah, this has been a really slow week for me as far as reading anything. Like, I've had so much going on that I haven't really been reading anything. But I did watch Love on the Spectrum, the US first season. And I just love that show a lot. I really, really love it. It's so cute. I love the way that they are trying to help adults find partnership. And I do wish that they would have kind of modeled more after the Australian version of the show and shown some more diversity in the couples, because these were all hetero couples. But besides that, I think it's a very good show. It was a good season. You instantly just fall for these characters, and they're not even characters. This is a reality show. Why am I saying characters? You instantly fall for these people, and they're just so great.
They're producing something, so like in part, there is a little bit of characterization to them. So,
sure, I would say it's definitely less scripted than other shows, though, for sure. Like, they help set up the dates, but as far as some reality dating shows where people are like given drama to say, there's like none of that, and you can tell that the people who are going through the dating experiences are being very genuine. I just think everyone needs to watch that show. Sabode and Rachel are my favorite couple ever. I just love them so much, so much. Also, David and gosh, I'm gonna forget her name now. I think it might be Katie. That they both love lions so much. And I love that they have so many similar interests. I love how they find like perfect matches for people sometimes, and it works out really well. And then just like the way that they show people learning how to develop social interactions and work into having a relationship is really good too. I will say they need to change the music that they use for this show, because this is a show about adults, And it does tend to infantilize the situation. But if they change the music, I think that would help a lot.
Okay. Well, so take notes from Laura.
Yeah. Let me also be on this show so I can just meet everyone and like do awesome things like some of the people that are on this show. Let me on.
I would love that journey for you. Do you have any book recommendations for the week, since I know it's been a little bit slower for you?
I've been reading Lumberjanes, so I'll just recommend Lumberjanes again. Get all your kids to read it. So fun. Friendship to Max.
June is Laura's birthday month, and I created a Laura's birthday bingo because I love birthdays.
What's on that?
It hasn't dropped on our Instagram yet, but it will be dropping at this week, actually, because I think we're going to do the Laura's birthday bingo. But I tried to put Lumberjanes on there, and Laura vetoed it because she's like, listen, that is a children's book. I'm
turning 30, so I should probably I don't know.
I put Lumberjanes on there, so that's a bonus point. But on it is a celebrity memoir audiobook. Very Laura.
Yeah, I like those.
The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, which we have gone on record that is an Our Pod recommendation. A Mary Roach book, which
Laura, I've only read one, but I've got the other ones. So
I know
I need to get on it because Fiction Fans is having her on the show, and I'm gonna geek out.
Laura's so jealous. She might try to just jump on random Zoom calls until she's on it with you guys.
I'm literally just going to be like frothing at the mouth until that episode comes
out. So a Mary Roach book because you love her so much. Song of Achilles, which Hannah will be reading in June. So everyone should. The Free Space is a Frederick Bachman book. You can choose any of them because it's Laura's favorite author. Laura's ad, which I overlooked surprisingly, is Dune. How did I not pick up on that one?
I've made Dune my personality trait.
I know, and I think you only did it because I was like, I'm it on this, and you're like, I'm going all in on Dune.
And that's really it. Like my profile picture, I made a picture of me holding Dune, and like even some people on Instagram were like, "You really like Dune?" And I'm like, "Yes." I'm just going all in for Dune.
I know. Eventually, I'm sure we'll cover it on the podcast, and Hannah will hate it. But Hannah is like 10 times more comfortable making herself uncomfortable than she is other people. So I feel like I'm going to
just go hardcore. Love everything about it. 5 stars across the board. No flaws. Dune.
It's going to be very frustrating for me.
I will not appreciate any of the bits.
No bit zone for me. And then the last row is a Talia Hibbert novel, because we did love Talia Hibbert, an Agatha Christie novel, problematic fave. And then the last one is Interior Chinatown.
Everyone knew that. Like
everyone everyone should try to pick up one of these for Laura's birthday month, because Hannah loves birthdays and Laura's turning 30, guys.
Yeah, I'm old.
Oh, you're not old. I hate that. I don't believe
so. I used to do some substitute teaching, and I would like every now and then the kids would try to guess how old I was, and this was several years ago, guys. So the best thing is when kids try to guess how old you are, and they're never correct. Never. No. Even high schoolers are very bad at guessing how old people are.
Oh yeah.
But like the best was when little kids around, I don't know, around the age of, how old are you in first or second grade? 6, 7?
6, 7. Yeah.
Yeah. When they would guess how old you were, it was either, I don't know, maybe 15, or then they would guess, I don't know, 80.
Yes, I am 80.
And they were just the range was never very good. But I always like whenever they would ask me then after that, I would just be like, I'm old. And they accepted it because I was old compared to them.
Just don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like I've always said, I have sisters who are like, I have one sister who's 10 years older than me. And you want to know something I've never thought? Like, wow, she's getting kind of old. Like, I just never thought that. And so I'm just not someone who freaks out about birthdays the way other people do. Not saying that you're freaking out about your birthday.
I wouldn't say I'm freaking out.
No, I don't think you're freaking out whatsoever. But I'm just not someone who ever like thinks about birthdays the way I think other people think about birthdays in some
I think
kind of
some
way.
people are like weird about like the aging process in general, where they worry about, you know, wrinkles and hair changing color and stuff like that. Where I feel like that's maybe not a reason I would worry about birthdays as much, but I can understand it.
Right. I don't know. I just never worry about it. Like I know everyone like it gets older and stuff like that, but there's just something to be said about like, you're not, I mean, I don't know. I just never think about it that way. So I'm excited for your birthday. Birthdays are Hannah's favorite holiday. So she's very excited for Laura.
Hannah loves birthdays.
Hannah loves birthdays, guys. I just think that they're a special day where you get to feel whatever type of way you want to feel. So everyone
I might get my mom a present to celebrate like her being in labor for over a day with me. And I was a huge baby. So thank you, Mom, for having me.
I promise you. It's such a weird thing to say, but you were not as big of a baby as I was.
I mean, I was a 9-pounder, and that's pretty big for the first baby. So
Laura, I was like 15 pounds.
Oh my gosh. Wow. What, you were the last baby too?
I was the last baby.
I feel like this is a thing that babies get bigger.
I was like 2 to 3 weeks late, and I was 2 feet long. I was literally,
oh my gosh, you were so tall.
My mom had a C-section because I could not come out. Like it was not an option.
No kidding.
So I was a C-section, and I was a giant baby. Yeah.
Fun story about my family. I don't think they will be listening to this. So, and I won't drop any names, but my aunt, so this was back in the 70s when apparently they did not really care too much about like babies being super late. She was over a month late, and they didn't do any kind of like induction room. They just waited for her to come.
Yeah.
And when she was born, she had to have her fingernails trimmed because her fingernails were so long. Also, she could hold her head up instantly as a baby.
Yes!
A newborn could hold her head up. To which I am like, doctors in the 70s were not on it. They were too relaxed.
Big. Yeah, that's too much. No.
But it always, you saying how late you were just reminded me of that. And I'm like, that's too late.
Too late, baby. It's too late. No. That's so funny.
I was born on my due date, so.
Oh, nice.
And it explains my whole life, basically, skating in right at the nick of time.
Well, you're not going to turn 30 a moment too late or too soon. No. It will be right on time.
It explains me perfectly. I'll get it done right on the date. Not early.
I am early with everything, but I was late to be born. Well, that's good.
What have you been reading and watching?
So
More Priority.
I've been reading Priority. Lots of people who are reading Priority with me have lots of thoughts. That's all I'm going to say. I just have a lot of people I have one person who whined a lot, but they're done with it now. So that's fun.
He who must not be named.
I'm not going to name him on the pod. It's not going to happen. But I did pay him $10 for reading.
Wow.
He returned the money.
It was that bad.
It was that bad. No. There are positive thoughts. I think my thoughts on it, I think I've tried to be positive for other people because sometimes I hate when I know people don't love something that I made them do. Like Laura with Robert Jordan Wheel of Time. When Laura was at her most
How could you have known?
I know. I don't know. I just have like a weird guilt when it comes to like, cause like, this is such a weird thing, but like a weird part of my personality, and Laura knows this, is sometimes I just ask people to do things and then they do them. And I'm like, I didn't see that coming.
I mean, it doesn't hurt to ask.
I know, but like with you being like, I was like, hey, let's start a podcast. And all of a sudden we were doing a podcast together. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes I just like kind of walk into life like, oh, well, I might as well ask because I have a ton of anxiety. And so a huge part of my anxiety is like figuring out that other people might want to do something and they don't feel like they have the opportunity to do it. I don't know if that makes sense. But like, I'll suggest stuff that makes me anxious because I know it makes me anxious. And once I do it, I know I won't be anxious, if that makes sense. So I am excited that everyone was reading it, and I'm excited for everyone's reviews of it who read it. But I was also very nervous. And my take on it, I've been positive for other people, but I like this book, but I don't love this book.
You gotta be real with me. This is on Scribd. Should I read this book? It is over 1,000 pages on Scribd.
I would say hold off for a while, because a huge issue I have with this book is the last book we read was Babel for fantasy. And Babel
hard to hold up.
So good, guys. Like, we're going to do a review of it together, but like Laura and I loved Babel. And the characterization in Babel is so good, and the themes are wonderful. And Priory, I think the weakest point of this novel, for me at least, is the characters. They just don't feel like she has a ton of depth to them. Like, they have like certain characteristics, but like they don't always feel well-rounded as people.
So is this like a huge cast of characters as well? We're trying to keep track of everyone.
So like it's a huge cast of characters, but we have like 6 main POVs. But even the 6 main POVs, I don't always understand what their purpose is. And I think a little bit of it is sometimes they're supposed to be like shrouded in a certain type of mystery. But because they're shrouded in mystery, you don't get why they do what they do, or like why things are important to them. We're just told why they're important to them, kind of Robert Jordan-esque. And that is a weaker part of the novel for me. And also the world building, there's so much world building in this novel. Like, she's building a world. But I am someone who has a really hard time remembering things. So like, she has certain, like, there are dragons in this book. The mean dragons are called worms. The good dragons are called dragons. But like, the worms have mated with other types of animals and made like these like hybrid animals. And like, they're introduced, sorry, small spoilers for Priory, but like they're introduced as like,
it's slightly dune.
This is, yes, exactly. This is a mix between a dragon and this animal, but then it's never really, you're never really reminded again what the two mix of the animals are. So I'm like, it'll just like be like, this is the hybrid's name. And then it's always using the hybrid's name. And I'm like, but which 2 animals was it? Like, I can't remember if it was a dragon and a bird or a dragon and a wolf. And I'm just like, I get confused in my mind. So sometimes I get a little lost.
Why does this sound like a good concept for a TV show to me?
Okay, yes, that is where she really shines. I love the imagery she writes in this novel. Like, everything she writes, I can picture it vividly in my head, except for what animal is in the scene at the moment, because I just can't remember. But like, she's an excellent writer. I really love the way she writes. I think like when the characters work, they really work for me. It's just sometimes I get a little bit lost, but you're right. Like, the imagery and like the way she builds them and the lore of it all is fascinating, and I like it a lot. So like, really good goods and really bads, you know. So I would give yourself a break and read a couple of other books before you break into Priory, but I wouldn't say don't read it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, give yourself a little bit of, don't read it right after you read Babel, because then you're like,
yeah, that's not happening. It's already missed the boat.
Yeah, I know. But I even took a couple breaks in between that and Babel, and I still just, I don't know. It was a little complicated. I have complicated feelings, as one does. Yeah. And then for watching, I watched Power of the Dog, because I wanted to be well-read and well-rounded as a person. And I always forget that I'm terrible of watching movies. And I kind of watched it in like various different sittings, because it was on the Netflix, on my roommate's Netflix that's in the kitchen. So I was only watching it when I was in the kitchen, because that's where I'd left off. And specifically, like, that's a movie you should be watching in the dark for the vibes alone. And I didn't. So I was like,
I don't know what this movie is. What is this?
Oh, okay. Well, it was an Oscar contender. It has one of my favorite men, Benedict Cumberbatch. And it is about like, it's about like 2 ranchers who are brothers. One of them is like this angry kind of toxic person, and the other brother is like very straight-laced and very put together, and they live in like this big huge house, but it's kind of like run down because it's 2 ranch hands, you know. And then one of them, like the well put together one, decides to kind of like woo this woman, and it's by Jane Campion, who's like a pretty famous director, and she has like some weirder movies, and they just covered her on Blank Check, which is a podcast I listen to, and I wanted to watch the movie before I listened to the blank check episode. But it took me like months to do that because they've covered an entire different director in between that. But I think it will be a good movie upon rewatch for me. But I think sometimes with like highly artistic movies, I almost need to know what happens before I watch them so I can appreciate them. I'm a terrible movie watcher, guys. I can't help it. I wasn't trained to watch movies. TV. Yeah. I used to like cross stitch during movies. So I feel like I never taught my brain how to sit and watch a movie. And I would say similar instance with that. So, good, not great. And then I'm trying to think if I've watched anything else. It's been a long week. No, I've been mostly trying to read and then failing at that. So, I watched the first episode of Moesha on Netflix and that was fun.
Nice. Did you really watch the Pentaveret?
The what?
The Pentaveret with Mike Myers.
I don't know what that is.
Mike Myers plays like all the characters and it's like this secret organization of like these people who are controlling the world and trying to like solve climate change, and they're all Mike Myers basically. But strange. It's a strange show and I don't know how I felt about it.
I don't think I've ever watched any Mike Myers movie outside of Shrek.
That's his best, I believe.
Oh, okay. Well, I've seen him at his best, so now I can stop.
I really like Shrek.
That's how bad of a movie. Like, I just never really watched movies outside of like things that were on PBS
I did not enjoy
and
the
BBC
Austin Powers movies. So I can't give those any kind of recommendation. I do not enjoy those, but I do enjoy Shrek. So
I mean,
specifically Shrek 2. So yeah.
Yeah.
I was just curious if you had also seen that because that was like advertised and they kept recommending it to me and I was like, finally, I'll watch it. Just stop being so aggressive about this, Netflix. I will watch Mike Myers.
Well, I'm glad you watched the Mike Myers movie, so I didn't have to.
My friend Ken Jeong was in it, so it's a TV show.
Okay, well, that's good. But with that said, should we get into our final discussion of the cast of characters of the Wheel of
Ready?
Fun?
Okay. Transferred from Los Angeles.
Your school has no gymnastics team. This is the last resort. We both clapped.
The way that I watched that, so
be aggressive. Be aggressive. Be aggressive.
Let's go. There must be
some in the atmosphere. I said burr. Burr, it's cold in here. There must be some toros in the atmosphere. Girl, I know you don't think a white girl came up with that.
That movie.
Oh, well, this is fun. Okay, but Laura, let's discuss. Should we leave Rand for last?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Can we discuss the characters that were not in this enough and should have been?
Fail.
Here's my thoughts on that. Erin continues to look for Fael. Why did he find her? Why did he find her? For the love of God, why did he have to find her? She could have just been left somewhere, or some of these characters should not have made it out of this and did. And she was one of them who should not have made it out.
Tell us how you really feel, Laura.
The queen had to die and Fael lived? Are you kidding me?
Well, because every single man in this book had to have his happy ending, Laura. Every single man deserved a happy ending.
Did Perrin earn it?
No, but I think
no, he didn't.
For the authors, they think he did. Like, I don't.
He did a mediocre job at everything. It was awesome, and so he was rewarded. This seems so typical. Fael shouldn't have made it to the end.
I do think it's weird the way they chose to have the characters suffer. Because again, there was like always. Again, not to bring this all back to like women versus men, but there always seemed to be like almost a certain amount of like choice from the men to suffer. Like Matt ripped out his own eye. Like,
right.
Rand's hand, he didn't feel the pain of it at all. And like Perrin got to do everything right a lot, and his suffering came through the trauma of other people. Like he lost his family. Fail got captured. Like all of it seemed to happen to other people or by their own choice. And so
yeah,
it's very strange to read all about that. And then you have characters like Egwene. Like, yes, Egwene chose her ending for herself. That is true, technically. But she also like suffered through the loss of someone else through her warder.
Sure. Egwene's worst choice was picking down.
But also,
it was ultimately her demise.
Yes. But also, like, Gawain and her had to suffer in a unique way of warder and Aes Sedai. Like, there was a unique badness to it. And Egwene, I guess we're discussing Egwene first because she's up on deck and I'm talking about her. So I guess we're talking about her. But like, Egwene had to suffer throughout all of these books. Like, she had to suffer to like get herself up to the standard of Aiel. She had to be beaten by the Aiel. She had to earn every single position she got except for Aes Sedai, or except for like Amyrlin, basically. She was handed that, but like that was so disappointing when she was handed it, because we were like, what the hell is going on? This makes no sense.
It was something that we were like, okay, we could see this happening, but we didn't want it to happen when it did. It just didn't seem justified. And I feel like when you see a character work really hard for things and then eventually just be handed something like that, it feels like very empty. Well, and that's how that felt.
It becomes like an excuse for men to be like, oh yeah, you have her, but like she just got handed it. It's not even real, like, that there's a certain amount of backlash inherent if a woman doesn't earn her spot the way men do. It's frustrating. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. So what did you feel about Egwene in this final novel?
Hannah, I was very disappointed with Egwene's journey in this novel because I have really grown to like Egwene a lot. And the way that she had to be the one that just like, you could continually read about her getting more and more exhausted throughout this as she's being selfless and trying to help other people. And then dealing with the grief of losing, unfortunately, her love.
Unfortunately.
Losing him and then burning out and becoming a giant crystal. Then I was also annoyed with the like little, I don't even know what you call it, when she spoke to Rand, I was like, do it for me, Rand.
Her final scene in the novel was about fucking Rand. Yeah.
No, just no. I would almost have preferred the last time that we hear about Egwene to have just been when Tam's like, oh, why does she get a big burial?
Yeah.
Even though I hated that. Oh, God, I would have preferred to just like left out that whole do it for me, Rand scene and just skipped straight to Tam unreasonably complaining about Egwene's burial.
I think that that's relatively on board. I also like had a huge issue with like her ending was literally like, yeah, she can kill one of the Forsaken, the newest one. That one goes to her. Like the one who has zero life experience and the one who's like, Benedict Arnold reincarnated. Like it just, it felt really icky that was who her final big bad was. Like
I will say though, with these Forsaken, they were not well done throughout the series. The way that they were coming in and out and then changing bodies, it got very confusing and it was hard to keep track of who was who for me. And also I just thought they were very dumb. Like they never had a soft, like this, I know it's a book series and it's a fantasy book series, but this was very much so like, it reminded me of that TV show. My cousins used to watch it on Disney. Phineas and Ferb. Where the villain is
the platypus.
Yes, the villain is just an idiot and he's being beaten by a platypus all the time. And this is what the Forsaken reminded me of, was that villain from that show, because they were just doing so many things. I was like, just have a plan. You got to make a good plan. You don't have any plans. You're just doing so many things that don't make sense. You're infighting and all this. It makes things harder for you. I just didn't think that they were a well-organized group. And it was just very hard to even be like, oh, well, I understand what you're saying about like, oh, she couldn't at least get one of the big bads. But I'm like, even the big bads were not that big and bad, because you're like, you've got Demandred over there that's like screaming like, I think Matt is the Dragon Reborn. You're like, you're an idiot. Just shut up.
Go away. I do not like you. Yeah, I just felt like hers was such a, it was just such a letdown. Like I knew it was coming. So I at least had that wherewithal going into it, where I was like, I knew she got burned out. I knew she turned into a thing. And like, I did love the imagery, like in defense of this book, I guess. I did love the imagery of like her realizing that like she was going to be the light of the, like the light of the Aes Sedai. She was going to be the flame of Tar-Valon, as she called it. I was like, that is a beautiful way for Egwene to go out. And I like that imagery. I just wish it hadn't been for one bad guy when like all these other people got to kill so many other people, who like one bad guy who barely was in these novels at all, who like, according to like our people who know the series a lot more than we do, was supposed to end up being one of the other like big bads, but then like people guessed it too quickly and Robert Jordan got upset about it. Like I don't know. It just was disappointing overall. I didn't understand.
And to be fair, I also questioned like, okay, if this was a storyline where this happened to Rand, how would I have felt about it? And I think I would have felt similarly. So I don't think it's a situation where it's just because it's Egwene and just because it's a woman I feel this way. I think it's just the character storyline in general doesn't seem like she has ever been treated like justly.
No.
So it just seemed like a big letdown.
Well, we also had that issue with the whole like Perrin not getting it. He was not able to kill Podon Fane. Like he doesn't get to do the one thing he wanted to do most. And we're just left with him like just being Perrin, I guess. Like it just doesn't, I don't know. Yeah. Like his entire purpose was still and continues to be about Fail. And that's it, and nothing outside of her and nothing but her. And that's really disappointing,
Sure.
But yeah, so I think Egwene overall, and then it was just like her totally doing a 180 on like Gawain, because like in all the other books she's been like super reasonable about it, and then all of a sudden she's like, we're married and we don't get to see her say hi to her parents ever again, which is like all these boys get these cheesy moments. Like Perrin gets it with the blacksmith. Matt doesn't see his dad, but Matt gets like all of the glory in the world and becomes, like he gets to lead the army into final battle, get all these wins and like kill Podon Fane. And Rand gets like happy moment with daddy. And we don't even get to see
his brother.
And his brother.
Don't forget that.
Don't hate Rand.
He's your brother too.
But by the way, we don't get to see Egwene with her parents. We don't get that cute moment. We don't get the love of her life, who only loved her, talking about her in his final moments.
The fact that his final words are to Galad, don't hate Rand. He's your brother too.
It just sucks.
Bros before Egwene's. Literally.
Yeah. So I don't get it. And then you have like characters like your favorite, Nynaeve, who got shafted so hard in this book.
Or my other favorite, Moraine, who why are
for no reason
mentioned? Well, I mean, they're mentioned, but why do they come back for this at all? Why are they in this book? It's pointless. And then we have to listen to so much of Galad. Are you kidding me? No, thank you.
And that's kind of like, I just don't. You have this great character in Moraine. She's so good. She's so great.
What was the point of bringing her back? Honestly,
there was literally no point. They didn't know what to do with her when she got back there to marry Tom. But like Tom gets all the big moments. Like,
yeah, well, and he doesn't get many big moments either. Besides just like
doesn't.
sitting on a rock and smoking and being like, I think Maureen's got it. Annoyed.
But like, we don't really see anything from her. We don't see anything from Nynaeve.
They're pointless characters in this book, honestly.
They're there to show that Rand can trust women again. Awesome.
They stand behind him.
And they do whatever he says. So like even like the two most dynamic and powerful characters outside of Rand who like fight him every single step of the way doesn't fucking matter. They're just there.
Right. Which, and this is maybe a thing where it's like those are the two characters that maybe of any of the other women Rand would listen to, besides like Cadsuane. But in recent novels, he kind of wrote her off. But besides Cadsuane, Moraine and Nynaeve were the women characters that Rand would listen to, that he respected their advice, and that would actually give him pushback. In this, they're just like, we're standing behind you and doing whatever you say, Rand.
We believe in you, Rand. We're glad you're here. It just doesn't matter.
No.
It's a moot point. It's Cal's opinion. Yeah. Like, yeah. And I felt so bad for Nynaeve being like, and the thing is, like, some of it could be powerful. Like Nynaeve helping someone without her magic. What a great, well-rounded, thought-out ending to Nynaeve.
It comes full circle. You know what I mean? Like, the power of basil. I mean, come on.
It's right there, Robert Jordan. The power of basil. But you couldn't even do that. Well, I guess it's Brando Sando. But like, that's the thing is like, there's nuggets of awesomeness in this, but it's so watered down that you don't get it. Like the flame of Tar Valon being Egwene's ending, that's so powerful. But if you have to do a lot more with her throughout the series to make that a good ending. Yeah. And like Nynaeve helping someone with her thing only for them to die at the end. Like, and to have it not mattered at all because it's like, oh, good. She got enough strength to let go of the bond. So Rand won't be affected by this. Like Nynaeve doesn't even get to save the person. She just gets to make sure that Rand isn't affected by the death. It's only Nynaeve feeling guilty. And I'm not even someone who loves Nynaeve.
I know you don't even like Nynaeve, but you are like, coming to the bat for her because you're like, this doesn't seem right.
And understand that like she deserves better. Like,
right.
Yeah. And she does deserve so much better than
how
this.
About Moraine? Why here's my thing with Moraine. What was the point? You know what I mean? What was the point of the heist, of all of this, to bring her back for nothing?
For Matt to get a cool heist. Literally that and only that.
Pretty much. I mean, there's no other point.
Nope. There's literally no other point. And so I just, it was disappointing.
How'd you feel about Shannon?
What a way to let her go.
I was disappointed by that too.
Yeah. It's just like and the way she dies is like this weird thing of like, don't worry, we saved each other. And then she's just like, that wasn't good enough. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, she's dead. Like, okay. Like,
I feel like the characters that were more dynamic and interesting did not get the endings that they deserved. And the characters who were extremely bland and not that interesting, they tried to put so much into them to make them more so. And it was like, nope. No. Backtrack, deal with what you already have, and don't worry about trying to make Pavara and this random person read each other's minds. We don't care about that.
Oh my God.
Work with what you have.
Yeah. Well, and okay, so here's a thought that I kind of have been processing for a very long time.
Let's hear it.
It felt like they did understand which characters were the most dynamic, but they tried to artificially pull on our heartstrings by killing them all or making them go through the most trauma. And I don't think it's one or the other. Like, I don't think it's like we cared more about these characters because of all that they were doing. I think they had personality traits that made them dynamic and storylines that did make them dynamic, but because they were already dynamic characters. But then you try to manufacture this like heartbreak in us by watching Swan die, by watching Egwene die, because they're like, well, these are the most beloved characters. And it's like, okay, but if all you can do is give us the most beloved characters and then watch them die, that's not interesting. Like, it's not interesting to pick out the most dynamic ones and that's how you make us sad. And then the three main boys live. Like, I
feel like they don't know how to write deaths very well either.
No.
Is what I'm kind of pulling from this, also from this conversation. And I think you make a very good point. And here's the thing, like, I was going to bring up, we both read a Song of Ice and Fire series and what there is so far. And I think that actually that author does a very good job, George R. R. Martin, of writing deaths.
Yeah.
And making them interesting and making you care about the characters, even if they're only in the story for a short amount of time. You're able to find an attachment to these characters and still care about them up until the time that they die, when they die, and afterwards for a while.
Right.
Or throughout the series. And I do not get that same sense of not satisfaction. That's not the word I'm looking for, but
the
fullness
same
from the writing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think you're right. I think that they're like the death scenes in these were always really clunky and like Swan dying suddenly. And then all of a sudden her husband is dead, you know? And also what a weird book that like this entire book was like, hey, we're not like the other fantasies. We believe that people have partnerships, but like, and only the two rivers believe in marriage. But then at the end of the book series, everyone is married.
Everyone gets married.
That's not dynamic.
Except Rand. He doesn't
Except Rand. But he doesn't know who he's going to choose again.
And it's like, I thought you guys came to the decision that you were just going to be like
a
couple or throuple, and then it's just not okay.
Nope. That's not what they decided, Laura. That's not true.
Okay.
It just, it doesn't make very much sense. So I felt very cheated by the Swan stuff. I just, cheated I felt very cheated with a lot of these storylines. I think that's
fair.
Yeah. What did you think about like Perrin overall? Like, except for the Perrin continues for Fael, like, what did you think about his ending and stuff?
Okay, I was very uninterested in all of the Perrin fighting Slayer things.
Why did it drag on so long?
It was too long. This was something that maybe should have been wrapped up in the first half, if not the first third of the book. This was something that I think Brandon Sanderson kind of latched onto, or maybe this was in the notes that, oh, you need to have this in here, that this is important. But Robert Jordan kind of threw this storyline away a long time ago and hadn't mentioned it for a while with this Lord Luke Slayer situation. And we have honestly not thought about this for many books. And now to bring it up like in the last couple books, it's like, it's too late. And
who cares?
This became all of Perrin's storyline throughout pretty much the entire finale of this. And it was just uninteresting. It was uninteresting to me. How do you feel about it?
I agree. I could not tell you why we were in the dream world so often. Like it was mind-boggling how little I did not care about Perrin's storyline. Like just
and you know what?
Right over my
in
head.
Concept, this sound like me talking about it, them jumping between the real world and the dream world. This sounds like me just saying it out loud, something that I would really enjoy to read. When I was reading it, did not care one bit about this.
Right.
If you were to just like tell me that this was going to happen, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'd be really into that. Not at all. Not at all.
The execution in this book was just, or in the series overall, was just not great at all. So what did you think about Matt?
Matt, I had fewer problems with than others. I just really do not enjoy his Tuon relationship.
Does anyone? Can anyone who's a big fan of Tuon and Matt just like reach out?
People like Tuon apparently, and I don't understand. But I don't get them as a couple. I don't like it. And that's an ending that I wish changed for Matt. I did wish, like you were saying, like that you were mad at yourself that you didn't catch that he had died. And I do wish I would have picked up on this before it happened. But then when I was reading it, like when it was happening, like, oh, got it. So
I mean, so mad.
I wasn't mad, but I was just kind of like, I see. Yep.
You weren't mad. You were just disappointed.
I'm just disappointed in myself.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. There wasn't as much about Matt that I hated. I don't think I hated really anything about Matt except his relationship and how that ended, where it was like, oh, well, I'm still gonna chase after you, Tuan. No. Stay away from her. She wants to kill you now.
Right. I do think that like Matt was probably the best character at the end of the day. Like I understand now, 14 books in, why people are always like, oh no, Matt's the best. And it's not for any reason.
Not that this is a super well developed character, because he kind of grows as a character when Jordan's writing him. When Brandon Sanderson comes back in, he regresses a lot.
Yeah.
And then kind of dips down a little more and then comes back up. But it's not a lot. There's not enough for me to be like, this is an awesome character. But compared to the other things we have to work with, I'm like, I get it. I get why people like one of the best.
He definitely regresses. You were right. And I get why, but I do get like where it's like, oh yeah, but he's still the best out of all of what we've seen. It's just not always great. Not great. So
right.
Yeah.
Hannah, how do you feel about
Tuan? I mean, we both hate Tuan. We both know we hate Tuan. She is all the problem. She's all the problematic tropes rolled into one. Hannah has beaten that dead horse on why it's a problem. So people listen to all the former episodes because Hannah's quick to point it out why this is a problem.
That's correct.
It's correct. Yeah, that's like I'm not an authority on a lot of what I talk about Tuan, but I am. I try hard to at least point it out. I'm sure there are other people who are much better at this, and listen to them as well, because Tuan is a problem and I don't like it. I don't like it. I think she's a problem and she shouldn't have been in these books. And I'm scared to see the show handle the Sanchen.
Honestly, me too. It's going to be difficult for them.
Mm-hmm. Like it's not a good. This is not built up well. Like
no.
This is terrifying. I'm terrified to see what they do in the show about them, because like there's nothing good that comes from Tuan in these books. Like nothing.
No.
She is a problematic character. And that's it. Like, I don't even know what else to say about Tuan besides that. Like this show.
I don't think there is anything else to say except that this is just a bad character that is just written very poorly. If this is your favorite character, I'm sorry, but you need to take a deeper look into this, because there's
have a second.
Too much to unwrap here.
Yes. Or if she's your favorite character, like, make sure you know why that's problematic. Don't just stop
do a little
there.
research.
Yeah. Look into like the issues with how Western cultures see other societies who are not Westernized themselves. The issue of like the quote unquote, sorry, bad word, but barbarian tropes. Like, because Tuan is dripping with these issues.
Yeah.
So
I want to just shift to a lighter note.
Okay.
So I was talking with someone on Twitter and they pointed out that a beloved character in this series is thought to be none other than the creator.
And that is
Bella.
Bella. Laura loves this theory, guys.
I love this theory because it's hilarious. The fact that when you were like going through the synopses and you're like, oh, and he's riding Bella, I'm like, this horse has survived so long.
Swan can't even make it to the end of this chapter, but
the fact that we now know the reason behind this is because Bella is the creator. Doesn't it all make so much more sense?
Aren't you so much happier now that Bella's the creator?
Yes.
I'm happy for you.
That like offshoot series just about this horse.
Someone write the fan fiction and send it to Laura, please. Next week is our wrap-up episode. Let us end it with some Bella creator fanfic. Someone, please.
I'm like picturing the first episode of the TV series where it's just like a horse rearing and like it's like I created the world.
And then all of a sudden it says healing hands, healing hearts. Bella.
I created this world. I can break it too.
The wheel will keep on turning, and I will be here for it.
And I will be pulling the cart.
Yes, people. Write it down.
That.
It's amazing.
Bella is the creator. This horse made it so long in this series before finally going.
Oh, poor Bella. I liked the character of Bella. No notes.
10 out of 10 personality.
10 out of 10 personality. She was great.
As far as feminist representation of horses go, 100%.
I mean, they could have made her a man, you know?
Exactly.
And they didn't. And you want to know what that is? That is feminism.
Feminism. This is a horse that is a woman horse. This is a mare. This is someone who is showing all the other girl horses the possibilities if they just are the creator.
This is a feminist text. So no notes on Bella. What did you think about the 3 love interests? Let's just talk about them as one because they might as well be one person.
So
Banks!
Puke. I am throwing up. Min suddenly becoming like the seer for Tuan was weird, especially when for so long she was trying to like not necessarily conceal, but she wasn't like offering viewings for people.
So secretive about it all.
And now all of a sudden she's kind of like, all right, I guess I'm telling Tuan everything that she wants to know, even though she never used to believe anybody about anything. All right. That was weird. I did not like all the authority that Elaine was given. I get it, people, that she's maybe read some books about stuff and knows about diplomacy. Show me the receipts because I don't believe it. She was given too much authority.
I don't believe it.
I am not convinced.
Liar. That's amazing.
On a throne of lies. She knows nothing about war.
How dare you even insinuate that is what's going on?
She barely knows anything about Rand.
She does barely know anything about Rand. Why are they all in love? Like, they're not in love. That's not love.
Avienda had a lot to do.
Avienda had so much to do for someone who probably didn't earn that.
For someone who did very little leading up to this, she had a lot to do. Remember when she spent half a book like just dripping water into a pitcher, or from a pitcher into a bowl, and just like one drip at a time? Yeah, I remember. Right. And now she's doing so much. I think that was all the training she needed, honestly, to live up to her full potential.
Right. I don't know.
How do you feel about the trio?
I mean, they be real dumb.
Yeah.
They are useless. I don't get them. I don't like, you know. Yeah.
Could one of them even be better? I mean, I think we can assume they're hot, so they have that going for them.
I just like, why all of a sudden was there like a random rape thing with like Elaine and
with that terrifying situation where the Forsaken was like, I'm going to cut the babies out of you. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, terrifying. That was definitely, we talked about this in a previous episode, and I think it was the most accurate thing, where it was like, somebody was like, oh yeah, well, you look like you're going to, I don't know. Oh yeah, well, you look bad today. And then he's like, oh yeah, well, I'm going to cut the babies out of you. Like, oh my gosh. Wow.
Those two things are not equal.
This is not the same. We're not on the same level here.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
I don't get it. It's not great. It's not good. So I don't get any of these three characters, why Min all of a sudden mattered, why Aviendha mattered. And like Aviendha, again, one of the most capable characters, legs chopped off. Mm-hmm. So she's going to spend the rest of her years suffering because her people they like ensure themselves as walkers. They ensure themselves as being able to catch their own food. They ensure themselves as people who are capable of doing these things. And I am not saying that a person who lost their leg is not capable of doing any of those things.
I'm saying world, we don't know what their
in this world
accessibility is.
Mm-hmm. And there's not enough understanding given for that. Like there are people who have had this happen to them who like undergo a lot of strain and stress, but like it happens to her and all of a sudden it's like, but don't worry because Rand's still alive.
Yeah. That's all that matters, Hannah.
So she gets to share a man for the rest of her days. Like, I don't know. I just don't get it. Yeah. Don't like it. Not a fan. Yeah, that's about it. So I thought that their characters could have been so much more and like this is a feminist text. But like it's such a because like we could have liked these characters. Like you and I identified what these characters were supposed to be
early.
And then they failed at it. Like it just didn't.
Actually, Elaine lived up to all my expectations and what I thought this character was going to be.
Fair enough. You never liked Elaine. Laura was never.
I called this one early, and I just never got on board with it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't understand why those three characters like never lived up to any potential. They just like were there. Like Aviendha was so interesting at the beginning, and then they just like again. I maintain that anyone close to Rand, all the personality is just sucked right out of them.
For a while, her only personality was I love Elaine, and
no, first her personality was I love Egwene.
Yeah,
and then that disappeared for Leyh because Elaine was
all of Egwene's friends become
Elaine's
friends.
And Egwene's betrothed became Elaine's betrothed. And Egwene's life became Rand's for some reason. But like it just, This is a feminist text. And then you have Lan. You should smile more.
Can you picture him trying to like motivate people? Like no the book Lan trying to motivate people, just no, you can't. He's too boring.
He's so boring. Yeah, Lan's not
this
fun.
Is another one it was too late for to try and like bring in more with this character, similar to the way that I felt about all the Perrin Slayer stuff being brought up, trying to make Lan into Aragorn. It just was too late.
It was way too late. There was no need for that. There's no need.
Let Nynaeve do some awesome stuff and let him follow her.
Yes.
Or let them be in love, and they're not doing that either.
Nope. Why would they do that, Laura? That sounds like it would actually be fun.
Yeah.
Disappointing.
What else do we have to talk about? Mind reading?
Glad and Gawain.
We have the mind reading people that were in this so much.
Andral
and Andral, right? Is that
Kavara and Andral? Yeah.
They were in this so much.
Lord, can you read my mind about what I think about those characters?
I am reading your mind, and I'll just say what she's thinking, everyone. Why?
In their defense, they would have been interesting 2 books ago. Like if we had the book,
even 3 books ago, it's just too late.
During the slog, if we had them during the slog, great added plot.
Give them to me in books 9 and 10.
Yeah, like give them anywhere else but the last book in the first half, where all of a sudden we bring in, hey, if we bond each other, we can read each other's minds. What a weird Deus Machina. Like, and like to the point where they're like, oh, that's a good thought.
It also would almost like fit with the title Knife of Dreams. Like,
right?
Come on.
Oh,
so with the Slayer story, put that back in Knife of Dreams.
Nope.
A boring book.
A boring book. It's so boring. Nope. We just get lots of mind reading and
A Memory of Light.
Like this book was so long. We didn't need it to be that long when there was like a 200-page battle.
Yeah. Berylane was in this as well. She's
and Berylane was here.
She once again has Perrin wake up in her tent.
But this time, don't worry. No one thinks that they slept together. No one thinks that they slept together, Laura.
I brought you in saying, I've got Perrin and I'm not touching him at all.
And I'm not going to sleep with him. I'm promise.
Wide open.
Oh God, I hate her characters. Again, someone we were like, yeah, there are interesting things you could dive into with women if you didn't make them all have the same personality. Like they all have the same personality. Why?
It's funny that so many of these women love Perrin when we are like, what do you see in him?
I mean, at the beginning we loved him too, but he's like that one guy in high school where everyone is like obsessed with.
Everyone's like, I love them, and you're like, but what is there to them?
There was one guy I remember in high school who like we thought was very, very hot, and then later on in life he hit on like everyone, and I was like, honey, you missed your chance. You missed the time when this was appropriate, and it's no longer that way. Yeah, it's a memory of light, and it was a memory of light. Yeah, so there's that. But I don't know. Yeah, Berylane's here, and Berylane's here. Galad weirdly like learned something in this book for some reason.
Besides that, he had another brother.
Besides that, he learned from Morgaze, who now loves him. Now she does. Now they're besties. You can't see the world in black and white, Gawain. Some of it is gray. We give character growth to the fascists, but not the 3 women who have been here most of the time.
Don't hate Rand.
I almost spit out my water. Don't hate Rand. You can't leave me on this earth without a brother and a sister.
I can't not have a brother.
But wait, you still have a brother. It's a weird time to bring it up, dude.
Any last words? You have a brother still, don't worry. Come on.
It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Oh.
I think I had said earlier in this
sorry
coverage of this series that I thought Nynaeve would be the character who was working like on the side of the good people, but also like pushing back against them all the way. It did not become her. It was Gowan who was doing that.
Gowan.
In an unexpected twist, Gowan became the character who was on the good side, but fighting us every step of the way by not listening to a damn thing that people would tell him.
Which, spoiler alert, nobody asked for. I didn't ask for that, nor did I want it.
And the award for worthless goes to Gowan Tricon, who never listened to anything.
Year anniversary where someone was like, who's the best character and why was it Gowan? And you and I about had a heart attack. Oh my God, what? No, thank you. No, thank you. Oh God.
Who's the best character and why is it Brando Sando?
Brando Sando, I like, in his defense, good on you, my guy. You worked very hard.
You know what? I honestly, for all the like complaining that we're doing about this book, I am very impressed by what he was able to do, jumping in where he did. And I really do like his writing.
Yeah.
I will say that I do like his writing.
Same.
I just think that it was an impossible feat to come in here to try and do all of this in 3 books, even though they were 3 giant books. And you could have, I would have preferred.
You could have cut out the mind reading.
Yeah, I think Harriet maybe had too much on her plate at the moment and they needed to get another editor involved.
Yeah.
I think he still did a really good job though.
Yes.
For what he had to do.
Agreed.
For all the complaining. He still did a good job.
We're very impressed with what you did, but we're going to make fun of it all the same.
Yeah, this I will not ever assume also, is like, the greatest work.
Again, we were like, Tam's the best. And in this book, I'm like, maybe Tam wasn't the best.
In this book, I'm like, screw you, Tam. And Queen gets a huge funeral. She gets a parade.
Right? It's just like, Tam, do you not understand what's going on? No. Oh, okay.
You see how his lady loves are not upset at all. Yeah, it's because he's not dead. You see how Loyal questioned that, Tam? Oh yeah.
They're all so dumb.
And what was the title of the book? It was The Dragon Reborn.
I think so.
Okay. I can't remember. We questioned if this was going to be just The Wheel of Time by Loyal, I think, but it ended up being The Dragon Reborn by Loyal.
Thank God they didn't make it books, because we were going to be very mad if it was like, hey, all those talk about boobs by Loyal.
Yeah.
But like Loyal didn't even get a goodbye in this that was really well earned.
No.
Like it's just like, oh, he sings now.
He was like, Aerith, I have to leave you because I need to go like write some stuff for my book. This looks more interesting. Goodbye.
And she's like, don't worry, this is what women are for.
And she's like, don't worry, we sacrificed all of our beliefs to be here to fight.
The people like the way of the leaf. Like,
yeah,
why
they're
are they
now.
Here? Why were they there? I don't know.
To talk about like characters that died a long time ago that was strange. Okay.
I guess that leads us to Rand. What a nothing of a character by the end of it. Like, what a nothing of a character.
So much of this was just weird. Like him jumping around, him having those visions. In concept, those seem great, but when you're like in the middle of all this, it's just like, why is all this action happening around him and he's not involved in any of this? You know what I mean?
Right.
I guess people will argue and be like, oh, well, he's definitely involved with the Dark One and he's like fighting the Dark One in these visions. And it's like, was he though? I don't know. Then he had to still go and fight with whatever. I don't know. And also like him coming back in a shockingly handsome dark friend, like, come on. He couldn't even come back in somebody that's like, oh, this is actually a disguise. It's like someone who's not strikingly attractive.
But Laura, that man wanted to die more than any other man.
He was like, I need to be in any dead body available. Is Bella still around? He could not stand to be here.
I just want to die.
Did you pick up on their connection a few books ago, or several books ago, I guess now?
No.
So when that happened, I had no idea that it was like them becoming, I knew they like became connected, but I guess I didn't understand the stakes of it all, where it was like, oh, they're like connected.
Yeah.
And there's like another person connected to them too. Who is that?
I don't know.
Listeners, reach out. Tell me who this other person is.
I honestly kept getting.
It's like Luz Theron, Morden.
I honestly kept getting Demandred and Morden confused together.
Morden is hot because Rand can only be hot.
But so is Demandred, isn't he?
Not as hot as Morden.
So confusing.
Besides him being nothing of a character, like, what did you think of his storyline?
Again, over the 14 books, there is an interesting arc. Mm-hmm. I just don't think either author wrote it.
Yeah.
I think that there was an interesting thing of I don't want to be a hero, but I'm going to walk into it. Okay, I have to die at the end of this. Okay, I've decided that having a choice in dying is still a choice. Okay, I'm going to fight my hardest. Okay, I'm going to switch bodies with more. All of that is interesting. Even the whole, I want to get rid of the Dark One and realizing if you get rid of the Dark One, there's no free will. But the way that happens, it doesn't, you don't always need to handhold readers. I'm not saying you need to handhold a reader, but there are ways to remind people of different times in Rand's life where he wanted people to have free will.
Right.
And none of that happens. So then it almost feels like there's no context for him learning that lesson.
Right.
So I feel like that's a feeling on the writing style, Do
you think that if this had been written in a less cheesy way, and the only reason I say cheesy is because with this being the final book, I felt like there was a lot of reflecting back on our time in Emmons Field, and with those flashbacks and him thinking about his lovers and him thinking about who's going to follow me and that kind of thing. Do you think if there was less of that and more focus on Rand trying to do things for the world, and that the stakes were put into this more, that it would have come off better?
Yes. And it's a weird thing because I guess spoilers for the TV show, but this last book is dealt with so much better in season 1, the season finale. Say of the season finale what you will, it was kind of, people had their feelings about it, but there was the whole you could have exactly what you want. And he's like, well, you don't understand. The woman I love wouldn't want this. And so I can want her and understand that we can't be together anymore, but I can't want this, whoever this person is, because it's not real. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what they wanted him to learn throughout all of those worlds, but it just didn't feel like the stakes weren't there as well. And it was a little too cheesy. And even the show was a little cheesy, but in a good way, where it's oh, the themes are there. Or even in season 1, where the woman is don't you understand? We want to break the wheel of time. We want to end the suffering. It just keeps turning and turning, and everyone keeps suffering. And it's oh, that's such an interesting theme. Right. And I think Brandon Sanderson was better about the common people than Jordan was. Mm-hmm. But by the end of the book, all the common people fell away really quickly. Yeah. And it became about the high noble people again. Yeah. And that was a little disappointing after we saw so many people in the trenches,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed.
So I do think if it weren't as cheesy, there would have been more room for these themes. And I do think There's a Taika Waititi line about like people don't ever actually have themes written down. They just write something and people are like, I noticed this theme. And you're like, oh, yes, me too. Like, even if you created it. And sometimes I feel like authors would do well to write down like at least what the theme is supposed to be and then like keep that in mind. So they're kind of riding to that edge.
Work around it.
Right. Because I feel like there was a lot lost in translation of the whole like the suffering and the wheel turning and turning and turning. And some themes were hit on, but not always successfully.
Yeah. Yeah, I would highly agree.
But what were your thoughts on Rand?
You know, I think that a lot of the cheesiness took away from what they were trying to do. If they would have dialed it back a lot if they would have even just cut out the end part where he's like, I wonder which of these beautiful come after me. That would have made the ending a little bit better for me, at least, because I didn't find that whole situation endearing in any way, shape, or form. I found it annoying because I thought we had come to a situation where we had accepted this polyamorous relationship, and I was like, cool, let's move on. We have not. We are still trying to decide which one will I love. I can't decide. I love them all. And it's not a matter of deciding. It's just a matter of accepting that you do love them all and moving on. And we're still in this. But I think that took away from the whole quote unquote shock of Rand still being alive. I don't know. I think maybe the cheesiness of it all just kind of got to me.
Right.
If it was dialed back, I would have been like, you know what? This is pretty solid ending. Even with the cheesiness, I'm like, this is still a fairly okay ending for Rand. Not gonna lie.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's complicated and many complicated feelings. Because I really liked the end of the book. Like I remember, like I hated the like, I wonder which one I'll choose. Yeah. But I did like the whole like being reborn into a different body and like kind of moving on from that part of your life and like being able to have a second.
And I mean, there's symbolism with that too, of the wheel continually turning, and like it's a new age for Rand, like the wheel's turning again on his life, that kind of thing. So it's like he's never, I get it. There's symbolism, but I think that maybe they leaned too hard, or maybe Sanderson just loved this series so much that he kind of fanned out at times and had to bring it back to, when I was a boy in Emmons Field, or remember when this used to happen and Nynaeve used to box my ears, that kind of stuff. Yeah. And he did that a little too much when he was writing all three of his books, honestly. And it maybe took away a little bit of the seriousness from the final novel.
Yeah, I would agree. And high fantasies apparently like they're just hard when they're like this drawn out, honestly, because it's just the 90s of it all, and the repetition was just like kind of got bogged down by the end of it. Like by the end, I was like trying to race to the end of this book.
Yeah, I mean, I do think if Robert Jordan hadn't died, this book would have like
it would have gone on.
This
further.
Book series would have kept going on.
Yeah,
the wheel of time would keep turning and turning and never stop. Luckily,
we wouldn't have started it.
We can thank Brandon Sanderson for breaking the wheel. So
I guess
thank you, Brando Sando.
Thank you, Brando Sando.
You're a hero.
And that is the name of the movie title.
And I'll stay out of your way.
Well, I think with that, this closes
what did you
out.
feel about the book in general, like the last book? We talked about like how we felt about Rand's journey, and we talked about the different characters, but how did you feel about the book in general?
Thought it was overall an understandable ending. Like I didn't like having all the stuff at the Black Tower at the forefront of this novel. It did need to be in a different book.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get away from that, like I liked watching them all have like, again, and also with the caveat of it's very weird to suddenly have political intrigue, like when all the political intrigue dropped off about 8 books ago. Like it was like Rand is in the Stone of Tyr and he has to learn the ways of the people, and then it's like goodbye.
There's no way he can.
I do what I want.
Right.
It was very strange to have him be like, and I will create the UN, and I'm like, oh, how very American of us to push a very specific way of life. And after like writing a book where like a lot of these people had Western ideals and they literally created civil wars when the monarchy died, like it just doesn't make sense the way some of this was world built. But I liked how they did like I loved what it kept attempting to do, but I didn't always love the execution. Like I loved him trying to like manhandle people and then Maureen walking in and being like, you have learned nothing. And that's a great way to reintroduce those 2 characters. And I really liked, like, I didn't like the mind melding of 2 characters, but I liked like all the Ashmen going up against each other. I wish it had been done better, but I liked that it happened. Sometimes Brandon Sanderson being like, I'm going to make you look like yourself, but you're pretending to be another person. Like, even though that's silly, I get like in the TV show, I hope that happens because I think it would be funny. Like, you know, and I enjoyed seeing Matt get ready for the final battle. I hate how many times Brandon Sanderson had Matt plan something only to be like, we're not going to do it. Like, that was dumb. But
thanks for the footnotes.
It just, I thought so many pieces of this were interesting. I just didn't always think like each puzzle piece was interesting. So like them trying to root out the spy around Tuon, that's interesting.
Unfortunately, these were all different puzzles.
Yeah, but they're all different puzzles. And so it just didn't feel like I always wanted it. So what were your final thoughts on this book?
I'd say similarly mixed, where I did not like the way a lot of things ended, but overall the way that the series kind of fleshed out, I was kind of like, I get it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I wouldn't say that I was like, this is a perfect book, but I think I was
a feminist text.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that it was a perfect book by any means, but I think the ending at times I was like, okay, I don't like this, but at other times I'm like, I get why they did this. It makes sense. So for the way that it had been written.
Yeah. Do we have any final thoughts about this particular book?
I don't. Just that Bella's the creator.
Bella is the creator. It is canon. And Oliver is not going to be Brigitte's husband.
That's good.
And I liked Oliver. I really liked Oliver in this book. I thought Oliver was very cute in this book, and I liked that he got to be the hero of the horn. Yeah. And like, I thought that was like weirdly one of the most well done things. Like when Noel came back and he was like, oh my gosh, for the first time in my life, someone came back to me. I thought that was so sweet to watch a little kid go through something like that, who had been through all this trauma. And we knew he had been through all this trauma. It actually felt like there were legs to it. Like it wasn't just like, hey, this little kid is ugly and his parents died and he suffered.
The only thing we know about him is he's ugly.
Yeah. Come on. Like we got to see him be a little bit more than that. And so I loved that and it made me happy. So that was one part I really liked. And I was glad he got to do the horn, even though I was mad at myself for not picking up on it. But yeah, so guys, this is it. We are no longer going to do a deep dive into this book series again. Like it's done. So next week is our closing up discussion of the Wheel of Time. I think we probably won't do as much heaviness as this episode was, because I feel like this episode was a little bit heavier as we like said goodbye to these characters. But next week we'll talk about some of our favorite characters, some of our favorite moments of the book, maybe. And people tweet at us questions you have. Of course, I'll be posting like, hey, what are the questions you have for us on Twitter? But tweet at us. If you have
specific moments that you want us to comment on that we maybe didn't, send those to us too. If you're like, hey, they forgot about such and such. Remember that time that Perrin was looking for Fail? They never talked about it.
Remember in book 3 when this happened? No, we don't. Hannah can't keep Morden and Demandred apart. So remember that.
Remember a man named Bors? How could we forget?
Laura remembers. She definitely remembers.
Pepper Charm remembers.
But yeah, tweet them at us, send us emails, do whatever you want, but reach out at our pod and we will do just a little wrap up discussion before we head into an indie intermission where we're reading I Hunt by Olivia Hill. And we're very excited and we hope you guys get your books now because it's supposed to be a very fun indie novel. It's like an RPG game as well. So you guys get to have like a little bit of layers of fun of discussion with us. And please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Rating, reviewing, and subscribing is a great way to get other people to join in on the conversation as we head into indie intermission and blazing through the Poppy Wars, which will be our next mini series. We're very excited for season 2 of the podcast. It will definitely be a change up. We are very excited for the R.F. Kuang miniseries. I think Laura will like this one a lot better because she's read 2/3 of it and Hannah picked it. And again, Hannah gets anxious about people reading things she suggested, even though she has no knowledge of them. So everyone pick up those books as well. And we look forward to finishing up our Wheel of Time discussion next week. Bye.
Bye.